To discuss these critical issues, I spoke with Htut. He's Myanmar's Deputy Information Minister and spokesperson for President Thein Sein.
When we started the reform process under the President Thein Sein, in the first stage, the international community had some doubt about our reform process. So now, after we make a lot of progress in our reform process, the international community recognize our reform process and sending a lot of help to us.
Of course, as Myanmar ushers in these reforms, the whole world is watching. What do you see as priorities?
We are making in the reform process in the four sector. The one is political and economic and administrative, and now we are trying to modernize the private sector in our country. So for all these four stages, most important thing is capacity building of our people.
Ahead of the president's trip here, 19 political prisoners were released. Critics say there are still about 160 still in custody. Should your country be doing more in terms of releasing those prisoners, and how quickly can that be done?
Now we have the committee headed by the Union Minister Thein to review all the people case on the list. So what our process is, when they propose the list, where we have to check whether this person is actually in the prison, because many names on the list are already released from the prison. So if the people is in the prison, we have to check his case, whether he or she is involved in the serious crime like the drug or rape case or murder case. And if they are not in that list, so we are review with the ministry concerned, and if they agree, so we release. So that we have to take some time to review all case by case.
There are Chinese ethnic minorities fighting the government in the north. What can you tell us about that?
We are talking with Chin for many times, and basically we are agree on the ceasefire, but we have to talk more dialogue to separate the two troops from the two sides in the Kachin state. So we are planning to hold another meeting in May 28. So I think we are moving toward the good direction, and in the near future, the fighting will totally stop in that area.
Will the military be able to take a step back and allow the civilian government to have a bigger role in terms of some of these reforms?
Yeah, now the military is also only the 25% in the parliament, but they are no longer involved in the day-to-day business of the parliament, like the passing of the normal bill. It's just doing by the simple majority. So I think the military is stepped back from most of the political and administrative function in the reform process.
Myanmar's rich in mineral resources. Is there more that the government can do in terms of embracing better environmental standards?
Yeah, now we are try to enter the agreement on EITI, so it will help the more transparent on the mining process. And before we are able to join the EITI, what now we are trying to do is all the project, whether it's coming from the foreign or local business people, it should be make the thoroughly environmental impact assessment and social impact assessment.
There's been some tensions in your country about these copper mines that are going in, displacing villagers. What can be done about that?
Yeah, there's a committee headed by the Daw San Suu Kyi, made a lot of recommendation concerning with the copper mine project. Now the president formed the committee to implement all the recommendations made by this committee. So I think now we are studying the implementation process, and majority of the local people who have to be moved to the other place accept the offer and compensation from the committee concerned. But only some few people are still opposing the project. But now we are trying to explain they have also the benefit and also some problem with the environment, but we have to deal all their concerns. And so we are working with them to convince they have to accept it.
Now, you mentioned Aung San Suu Kyi. She was heckled by some of these people, so obviously this is still a source of tension.
When she visited to that area to explain about the committee finding. So many people are welcome her and accept our accommodation. But there's some hardcore member against the Aung San Suu Kyi Commission finding. But when the meeting with these people, Aung San Suu Kyi asked whether they already read the commission report. They said no, we didn't need to read the report. We understand you are supporting the Chinese community, so we cannot accept that. So this kind of thing is very strange. If they have to review all the recommendations made by the commission before they try to oppose or act Aung San Suu Kyi.
U.S. President Barack Obama has praised the reform efforts in Myanmar, but he was critical of the treatment of Muslims. There's been a lot of news coverage about the violence aimed at the Rohingya Muslims. What would you say about that?
Yes, the first one is we didn't use the word Rohingya because it's only is not the ethnic minority named Rohingya in our country. There's many Muslim people, 4% of the population is Muslim, and we treat them as equally. And Constitution grants the right of the other people for right of the religious freedom for all the religion. So our government will use all the means to protest this right by all the religions. The president said that in the statement, a speech after the Metila incident, and many speeches he mentioned that the government will use every means to protect right of the other people.
But there are also critics who say that not enough is being done to help these ethnic minorities.
I didn't accept this kind of accusation because we are doing our utmost efforts to do that, but we have to admit that there's some of the limitation in our side. For example, police need more manpower, they need more modern communication equipment and modern riot gear to control this kind of situation. So this is our limitation, but we are doing our best to defend the right of the other people.
When people here in the West think about reforms, at least when they think about freedom of the press, they think of it as a great thing, something to be embraced. And yet, I saw you speaking about some of the downside of all of this, that it also opens up platforms for hate speech.
When we open up the media in our country, a lot of hate speech are emerging, mostly on the social network and also in some print media. So for the print media, we have the new law to prevent this kind of speech or racial discrimination to appear in the print media. So we are now submitting our bill to the parliament. That's our concerning with the print media. For the social media, now we are planning to make this awareness campaign to the people who are using the social media about their ethics or their code of conduct on the internet. Because you can have the freedom of expression on the internet, but you have to respect the right of the other people. So this kind of thing, we have to make a lot of awareness to the people.
Myanmar is a great distance from the United States, but geographically very close to China and has always had a close relationship with China. Does this move to the U.S. Signal a change in that relationship in any way?
Our foreign policy is based on the peaceful coexisting of the principle of the peaceful coexisting. So that means we improve the relationship with other country or damage the relationship with another country. We want to build all the country with a friendly relationship with China or the United States. But China is most our immediate neighbor, so we have to pay more attention on the friendship between our two countries because we have a very long history of friendship.
Mr. Ye, thank you so much for visiting with us. Certainly appreciate it.